red ants marching into the night. They disappear to the left and right again. Another supper from a sack, a 99-cent heart attack. I got a pounding head and an aching back, and the camel's buried in a big straw stack. I'm gonna live where the green grass grows, watching my corn pop up in rows. Every night be tucked in close to you. Raise our kids where the good Lord's blessed, point our rocking chairs towards the west, and plant our dreams where the peaceful river flows, where the green grass grows.
Hello everyone, thanks for watching. My name is Colton, and today we're going to talk about a 1971 Dodge B200 van. I've had this van ever since I was a kid. It was my great-grandfather's. He passed away in '95, so it's been sitting ever since then. He used it for a plumbing van, but it's actually a camper van, RV kind of thing. Well, anyways, we pulled the motor, and we thought it was seized. It wasn't seized. It was just a little stuck, and it needed a whole lot of other work anyway. So we pulled the motor, took it home, freshened it up a little bit, brought it back in 5 years, and put it back in, and I've been working on it for 3 months now, something like that. Probably a little longer than that, actually. I've put a lot of work into this, put quite a bit of money into it as well. When we pulled that motor out, we bent the distributor shaft so it wouldn't run right. It was only firing on like 3 cylinders. Put a new distributor in it. We realized that the transmission was slipping. Well, it definitely had issues. I'll put it that way. It was slipping when it was parked. Had it rebuilt. Turns out the main shaft and transmission actually welded itself to the front pump bushing, and tore up a good portion of the transmission. Anyways, got that rebuilt, got that all fixed. Put it back in there and fixed some other wiring and other mechanical issues. I actually ended up replacing the timing chain, and that was after we put it back in the van. So that was pretty difficult, getting your hands down in an old van to get to the timing chain. There's not a lot of space there. Anyways, now that I've put all this work into it, it's running great. I'll show you around the van here in a minute. Eventually I'll make a checklist about all the stuff I've done to it. But it's just been my little project. It's particularly creepy, but the thing was free, and it's been a good experience for me to learn how to do a lot of things I've done to it. I've learned a lot through it. It's really my first big project like that, of my own. So anyways, let's cut to the van. Okay, so we're back in the van. This is it. Like I said, it's a 1971 Dodge. It's got a 318 in it, and after all the work I've put into it, it does run good now. New water pump, of course, since I did the timing chain. New alternator, and several other new parts. There's too many to list. Anyways, I'll take you to the back around here. It's got a fridge in it, but we're actually getting ready to tear that out, and probably this video, because I noticed that a lot of the wiring on the back of that fridge, it almost looks like it's been melted, but it's probably really just from sitting in the area that it is in for so many years. It's just not really worth saving to me. It'll probably catch on fire if I do. I couldn't get it to come on or kick on or anything like that. no signs of life out of it. So I'm just going to get rid of it and maybe put a cheap Walmart fridge in there. Anyways, it had a stove right here. And it vented out right here. I blocked that off just to keep the animals from coming in here. It ran off gas, and I just don't trust that with, like I said, with the wiring in this van and the propane tank that's underneath the van. I just went ahead and drained that all out because it's just not worth starting a fire in here or blowing something up. So I'm actually going to remodel, put the bed right here where the stove was, because it used to be that way, across the barn doors. Well, that was just a bad design because, you know, it's only like 5 feet wide. If you're any taller than that, then you can't spread out. So, I'm going to rebuild it this way, and I'm going to make it wider too, and maybe a temporary thing, or like a fold-away thing, if I can. Put this new vent on it today, because it had been crushed years ago. Pretty happy with the way it turned out, actually. I put a new ceiling in it, which I'm not quite done with. I'm going to put one of them trim pieces along all these cracks, where all the seams, because all this was rotted because that vent was leaking when it got busted out. It had rotted all of this. All of that was falling down and sagging like right there, and there was mold everywhere, and it was just really nasty. And the floor was the same way because water just came straight in here and rotted the floor. It's actually got several rust holes underneath there. I painted over them with a thick coat of spray paint and then put a new floor down. It's just not worth trying to patch that old metal. It doesn't make that big of a difference to me. It'll probably be okay. It's got a sink. I haven't pressure tested it to see if it's going to leak or spray out everywhere. I do know that it does drain. Right now, I'm kind of confused on how it's set up because it drains right out the side. It looks like there's a holding tank underneath the van, but this isn't even routed to it. So maybe one of you can help me with that. Figuring out why that is that way. Right there's the auxiliary battery for all the house appliances in here. Let me get out and show you the wiring for that fridge was just not worth saving. This is where the access panel for the fridge, and let me pull it out up here. This is the wire going to the fridge, and I just don't really trust it. I can't tell if it's melted that way or if it's just dry rotted, but the whole wire isn't like that. As you get to the tip, it isn't that way. But I've tried plugging it in, coming off the house battery, and I've tried plugging this straight into a 110 outlet to see if just the fridge will work, but I don't hear any signs of life. I've got all the settings right, I think. But even if I did get it to come on somehow, I doubt it would cool. Like I said, there was rats in here, probably chewed on the wires and messed a lot of stuff up that I don't really care to replace. Anyways, I'm just going to throw a nice, efficient new fridge in there. I'll start it up for you real quick so you can hear it. It actually runs really well now, and I'm still playing with the timing a little bit because I think I can get it a little bit better. Haven't used a timing light on it. I've just kind of done it by ear, and it's running about right now. Got pretty good oil pressure. any knocks out of the engine. Transmission seems to shift fine. I've even got my fan working now. Anyways, one thing I'm gonna have to work on, this van in particular has a battery isolator, which I'm told they don't use anymore in RVs. That's it right there. And you can see the terminals on it are all rusted, probably not making a real good connection there. For some reason, the alternator isn't charging the house battery, it's only charging this battery, when it's supposed to alternate between the two using this box. But the box don't work. So I may replace it with a new one, or I may wire it up the way that newer RVs are supposed to be done, which is you can actually switch on the difference between the two batteries with a switch and power the two different things based on the battery. That way you can actually start the engine with the house battery without having to switch it out or anything in case you get stranded. Anyways, the lights work. The turn signals, I think I've got a bad ground or something. They act really weird. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Maybe it's just the flashers. I'm not really sure. Anyways, I'm going to get to tearing out that fridge, and I'll see you when that's done. Okay, so I'm back. As you probably saw, the fridge just decided to come on right out without my help. It just did it on its own. Huh. Anyways, over here you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier. I don't even know what would do this to a wire. See, this van has plenty of other old wires that I've run into. None of them look like that, though. I don't think that's just age. Maybe it's mice. There was a mouse or two in here. But even then, it looks melted to me. Maybe it's not to you. Maybe somebody can help me identify what happened there. I feel like something probably shorted out in it. And over the years of him driving it and it charging up that battery, it just melted that. It's really surprising it didn't catch on fire. I tried to preserve as much of this as I could because there's going to be somebody coming to get it. They wanted the parts off of it, I guess. Maybe they're going to try to make it work. Maybe it will work. I just don't really see how, especially with those wires on it. I think it's probably just more of a hazard than it would help unless you're just going to take the parts off of it. Anyways, that's down in there. What it looks like. Pretty happy with the way it came out, though. That was easy. And it doesn't look too torn up. With this space, I can probably get a fridge just about exactly that size that I can just slide right in there. And it's actually got, I don't know if it's too dark for you to see, but somewhere down there is a 110 volt outlet that this just plugged into. Which is nice, because then it's not like straight wired into the van or anything like that, and I have to worry about any other wiring. So that's where we're at. I'm going to haul this over to the barn if I can, and then somebody's going to come get it within the next few days, hopefully. Maybe I can get me one of them. Well, I was going to walk into the barn, but I think I'll just drive it. That thing was a lot heavier than it looked. Alright, so I got it back in the barn, or at least underneath that eave of it. Maybe it'll be good use to somebody, but it just wasn't a good choice for me. Anyways, this is probably where I'm going to end the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. I'm going to have a lot more videos about this van. And maybe whenever I get rid of this thing, I'll have videos about whatever else I buy. I've really had fun with this. Like I said, I learned a lot. And that's important. Maybe you've got a project like this, and you walk into it, and there's a lot of intimidation about wiring and whatever you might not know, or what could be wrong with this thing that could cause it to go horribly wrong. But really, when you get down to it, you just gotta do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So anyways, like I said, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.